Hey, yeah, David, testing 1 2 1 2. You're with us. That's awesome. We're testing 1 2.
Oh.
We're playing some music up in here. Yes, we are. Hey, anyways, welcome to your show. This is Zack Childress. I'm your real estate investing coach because I'm a real estate investor, and I'm here to help you guys build your business from scratch to the top. That's what we're here for. So I welcome you all. Come on board. Let us know you're here. Let us know you're with us. Let us know where you're coming from. That's always important, right? I like to know where everybody's at, what they're doing for the day, where they're going to be tomorrow, how you're working on your business. What are you doing inside of your business that needs help? Because today's all about real estate investing. That's why we call it the Real Estate Investing Talk Show. We do this show every Tuesday at 1:30 Eastern Time Zone, and we do our Dig Deeper show not every Wednesday. Especially during the summertime, it's a little harder. Tomorrow, I won't be doing a show on the Dig Deeper show because I'll be on a plane flying to Tampa for our Due Deals event. Yes, it's our Due Deals event coming up in Tampa, Florida this weekend. If you missed it, that's your bad, and I wish you were there. So if you missed this one, you need to get ready for the next one, which will be in Dallas, Texas. When, Jill?
I'm working on the dates.
We're working on the dates, okay? So
Should be the last weekend, but I'm working on nailing
it should be the last weekend of September. Is that right?
The 27th through the 29th.
Something like that. So if you missed this one, we've literally had to increase the room size because so many of you have tried to get in. We sold out of our gold VIPs. We sold out of our silver VIPs like instantly. Those things were gone, which only left general admission. And the general admission got sold out pretty quick. And you know, we give it to Jill. She's a master at what she does. She was able to get the hotel to open up new space for us, and so we were able to bring on some more. And so we were able to open the doors for more general admission. You guys are on fire right now trying to get your education lined up and get in, which I commend you for that. And you're going to love the Due Deals event. I mean, yes, it's called Freedom from Flipping, but I call it the Due Deals event because this is where you come to learn how to do deals. And I got all kinds of new training for you, right? Here's the thing. When you're in the business like I am, your events don't always stay the same, right? They just don't stay the same. Like I might teach the same thing for a year at an event, but after that, I got to change it. Why do I have to change it? Because things change out in the real world. You know what I mean? Like the market changes, marketing procedures change, deal structures change. I mean, strategies change. So I'm always changing it. So I've been in the grind, redesigning and putting in all my stuff into the new presentations for the event in Tampa. So you guys that are coming are getting the new cutting edge, latest information out there right now. So commends to you guys. So you're coming to the Due Deals event, the Due Deals event. Yes, we're going to be there and I'm going to be there. I know that's a shock for some of you, right? Because you've probably been to some events where you show up and whoever owns the company is never there. And I've been there, done that. I was one of the people sitting in the room like waiting to meet the guy and he never showed up. Well, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be teaching you. How about that? So I'll be teaching all 3 days. I'll be teaching on Friday. I'll be teaching on Saturday. I'll be teaching on Sunday. Getting you guys in line. I'm going to be bringing my power team with me. You're going to be meeting with your power team while you're there. They're going to be helping you get your assignments done so you can get some deals done while you're there. I mean, this thing is going to be off the chain. So I just said off the chain, didn't I?
It's okay.
I was just in the moment.
It's okay. Off the chain is real.
It's off the chain. You know what I mean? It's off the chain.
Chains
right?
will keep you down.
All right, who we got with us today, Miss Jill?
And we have Mike Barber over in California.
Mike Barber, welcome to the show, Mike.
We have David. He says, hey, Zack and Jill, Dave in PA.
David's back on with us. Man, we got some following fans. I love this.
Carly gives the hearty eyes.
Oh, love you too.
Don says, hey, Zach and Jill from Lexington, Kentucky.
Lexington. I love Lexington. Hey, Don, welcome back, my friend.
Deborah is giving you the hard eyes. Carly got some competition
Deborah
there.
or Detra?
Oh, sorry, Detra.
Detra.
Yep, you're right.
Detra. Oh, Detra, giving me some love eyes. You better watch out. Who gave me an angry face?
We have Sophie. She says, hello.
Hey, Sophie. Welcome to the show. You're in the right spot.
Derek Childress. He says, hey, Zach from Pensacola.
The P-Town. Man, I've had a lot of great time in Pensacola, man. I went and saw a concert with a band called Live. Some of the young people don't know who that is, but I saw Live there, saw Creed there. Man, lots of fun times in P-Town.
Talon says, hey, Zach and Jill. Talon, Boston in the house.
Boston up in here.
We got Sammy from Phoenix, Arizona.
Sammy.
We got Barbara Lee on here.
Oh, Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee, Barbara Lee. Isn't there a song about that? Or is it Carol? What's it? Is it Barbara Lee or what's that song?
Lola.
Lola Lee?
No, I know there's Lola.
Lola. Sing it again, Joe.
No, I'm not going to sing it again. You better be careful. Somebody's going to snag me from you for my recording contract.
That's all right. I'm her manager.
Kenneth says, hey, what's up? Kenneth Atcherson gives us a thumbs up.
Awesome.
Jennifer, she says, can't wait to see you this weekend. Georgia.
Boom, boom, Jennifer. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm coming with all new stuff. You guys are going to you're going to sit back and go, are you kidding me?
I can't wait.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? That's what my son says to me. If I tell him I'm going to change the channel, he goes, are you kidding me, Dad?
That's so funny. I love him. He's so cute. We have Sherwayne.
Sherwayne's back on here.
Yep.
Sherwayne, you still got the only 1-star review that I have on my entire Facebook review pages from you. That's it. You're the only one, man. I've showed you every way to change that, and you still leave it as a 1-star. You see, I will never forget you because of this. That's how I will always remember you, Sherwayne.
The 1-star guy.
You gave me the 1 star. I'll always remember that.
Shelly's from here. She says, Shelly in the house from Salinas, California. Good morning, Zach, and I can't wait for Friday. Let's do this.
Shelly.
And hello. Anthony says, hi, Zach. Looking forward to the show.
Good job. We're going to get it rocking and rolling.
Kenneth says, hi, Jill.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Oh, he said hi, Zach and Jill.
Oh, okay.
Amina, she gives us the crying laughing face. Shelly says, I gave a couple extra hearts because of the fussy face.
The fussy face. Good job.
Mike
Good job.
says,
keep them haters out of here. You know, if they don't like this show, they can go somewhere else, right?
Mike says that the boots on the ground was epic.
Good. You like that, huh?
Rudy says hello from Chicago.
Chi-town.
And then we have David. He says Barbara Ann is the song.
That's it. Barbara Ann. That's it.
Kenneth says, Zach, do you have a course on virtual wholesaling?
I sure do.
And Keisha, she says hello. She's here. She's going to be with us this weekend as well.
Good job, Keisha.
And they all got quiet on us.
Bill from Vegas. Shelly says, Zach, you get 5 stars from me. Thanks, Shelly. I don't know why. I'll always remember that guy for the 1 star. Always, always, always. And he even wanted to change it. And I sent him in the review, like, how to change it. And he never changed it. It's the only 1 star I got. That's it. Oh, I got 65s. I think I got 3 4s and 2 2s. See, I know what's out. I keep up with that stuff. So, all right. Well, listen, it's a pleasure that you guys are all here with me. We've got so much to talk about today. And I'm going to help you a little bit get things organized when it comes to, what are all these acronyms, right? Like, what's an LTV? What's an ARV? What's cap rate? What's an NOI? How do we understand cash flow analysis? And what's the power of leverage, right? What is the power of leverage? So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about today. And I think it's important that you get your head around the concept of how we make money in real estate, right? Because if not, and you don't understand these terms, when people use them and you don't know what they're talking about, they're going to do this. Yeah, I'm feeling kind of funny today. Also, if you have any questions on real estate today, this is your day to put them in, because I won't see you again until next week. Okay. So unless you're coming to Florida, then you're going to get me live for 3 days. I mean, live for 3 days. So I'm going to be working up a sweat on that stage. So
Bring your coats.
yeah, bring your coats. Bring your coats. Even bring a blanket if you need to. So
Just no pillow.
yeah, just know. Yeah, well, if you fall asleep on me, we got some issues. So, thinking about this, one of the big things I want you to understand is really start to understand, like, what is a cap rate, what is an NOI, what is an ARV, what are these terms, and what are they needed for in your real estate business? Okay. We call it financial analysis because that's the proper way of saying it, right? It's understanding the terms in which we use math or equations or research to figure out the financial analysis on a property. And so when we look at, let's just talk about some rental properties real quick. So when you're looking at rental properties, there's a few key factors you've got to figure out, right? Factor number one is what in the world is my money going to do me if I move into that deal? That's the ultimate number we're trying to get to. And that is called a COCR. Write that down. What is a COCR? A COCR is cash on cash return. Meaning, what is the return on the money that I'm using of my money into that deal? Not borrowed money, not leveraged money, not private money, not bank money, but what is my money making me? Which ultimately is the only thing that matters. Really, it's the only thing that matters. Look at here. I forgot about this check sitting right here. I got a $2,500 check sitting on the desk here.
Well, if you don't need it, I will take it for you.
$2,500 check. How about that? I need to put that in my wallet. So it's what is my money making me? Now, you might say, okay, Zach, I get cash on cash return. I've been to your 2-day immersion. I know it like the back of my hand. I understand that's the number I'm getting to. But when I'm just looking at properties online that are rental type properties, let's say it's an 8-unit, a 10-unit, a 20-unit, an apartment complex. Let's say it's a mobile home park, whatever the case may be. Well, you've got to take some assumptions up front, right? And this is the only time I ever use cap rate. This is it. You guys ready? You know I'm against cap rate. This is the only time I ever use cap rate. I know this is a big moment, right? Because I tell you guys, never go off a cap rate. And trust me, I don't buy off a cap rate, but I will use the cap rate to get to the initiation or the initial numbers that I need to base a cash on cash return off of. And so when I'm looking at the property, a lot of times the seller or the broker will tell you what the cap rate is on it. So I take the cap rate. Let's just say we're looking at a property, I don't know, that has a 9 cap. And let's say they want, I don't know, $1 million for the property. $1 million times 9% means that the net operating income is $90,000. That is why we use cap rate. You take, hold on a second. That's wrong. Divided by 9%. Okay? 11, it's a T chart. My brain is going blank right now. NOI, cap, purchase. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's what you should write on your paper right now. Can they see that? You know if they can see that?
I'm waiting on it to pop up here.
Well, hopefully you guys can see that. Write a T chart, put NOI on the top, put cap on one side and purchase on the other side, okay?
Yes.
And the reason that is because you take cap rate times purchase price, which is $90,000. So 9% times $1 million is what they want for the property. It's $90,000. So that gives you the top formula right here, NOI, okay? So the NOI on that building, if it's $1 million, no, you guys can't really see that, can you? Is $90,000. So now that I know what the NOI is, so what is the NOI? Net operating income. That is not a true number. Please listen to me. He zoomed in on that real quick, didn't he? That's not a true number, okay? It's not a true number. It is an initiation, or it's an initial number to get you started. But don't be fooled by the NOI. This is why I tell people don't use the cap rate, okay? Now let's get clear on that, all right? But I use it to get to cash on cash when I don't have the financials, when I don't have the P&Ls and I don't have the rent rolls and all of that stuff, okay? So here's why. Because if I can get to the NOI, right, which is $90,000 on this deal, then I can now assume what is left to take out of that. The debt services. So on $1 million, the bank will probably give me $800,000 of that money. Okay, which means I got to come to the table with $200,000. So now I have to take an assumption of what my debt services is going to be on $800,000. So I'm going to take $800,000 times 0.006 times 12. That gives me $57,000. Okay, so we take $90,000, which is the NOI, minus the debt services, taxes, and insurance. That gives me $33,000 of true cash flow. That's how I run numbers so fast, okay? Because I'm looking on LoopNet or wherever, and if I see a deal, they're usually going to tell me the cap. And I can use that to back down to the NOI, then take an assumption of what the loan's going to be so that I can take out debt services, which gives me a $33,000 true cash on that deal, cash flow. Now, we can only assume that the NOI at $91,000 is based on their numbers and on how effectively are they running that property. That NOI could be higher or it could be lower depending on how old the building is, how new the building is, but that's just the initial look at. So remember, my first thing on rental properties is I want to know what the cash on cash return is. So now I know if I'm going to go get a loan, I got to put $200,000 into that. But what else do I got to do? I got to inspect the property. I got closing fees. So let's just say I got $225,000. So now I know that the estimated true cash on this deal is $33,000. I divide that by 225. That gives me a 14.6 cash on cash return. Now, do you understand the difference, right? Like the cap on this building was 9%, but my cash on cash is almost 15%. Okay? That's why I want you to understand you're not making 9% on your money. When you look at the cap rate, you're not making 9% on your money. That's the capitalization rate of the building itself, meaning that's the rate in which it's growing or which it's being able to be assessed at. You want to know on your money. That's why we use cap, NOI to get to cash on cash. And it's important that you understand that model. Now, would I do the deal at 15% cap or cash on cash? It just depends. I can tell you right now, I would never do a C-class building at a 15% cash on cash return. Never. Never. I'll do 25, 30, 35% on a C-class. On a B-class, I'd probably consider a 15 to 20. And the reason being is because a B-class building has potential equity. It has potential growth. It's not as, it doesn't have as much deferred maintenance. It's not, it's not the C building, right? It's the B building. But remember, when you're starting off on building cash in your pocket, you got to start somewhere where you can make more money faster. And that's the C-class building types. That's the ones that, you're going to get that, that aren't in the best part, but it's not a war zone. Let's be clear. That's D-class, but it's like right in between, it's like that next level, right? It's that next level. So, and I own a ton of C-class buildings, but would I take a 15 to 20? Yeah, on a B-class. Would I take an 8 to 15 on an A-class? Yes, I absolutely would, because you're just not going to get, an A-class building getting over 15%. Getting 15% on an A-class building would be insane. But it's all about structuring of the deal, because remember, I'm not doing cap, I'm doing cash on cash. So less money, if I can work it where I'm getting less money in the deal, then I'm going to do that. But that's, when we're talking about cash on cash, that's how we have to work backwards. We have to go back and look at the cap, to determine the purchase price, to determine the NOI, to then take out debt services to get to cash on cash. Now, it's important that you understand that, because NOI is net operating income. That's what they expect it to be. Cap rate is capitalization rate, right? Debt services is basically the mortgage payment that gets you to cash on cash return. Now, that's what gets me in the deal. But once I'm in the deal, I'm asking for things, right? I'm asking for 2 years of financials. I'm asking for rent rolls. I'm asking for financials so that I can validate that information. And if you've got somebody that's saying, here's the reality. When you're looking at deals and you're running expenses, it's normal for a building to run at a 45 to 55, even 60% expense factor, right? When you're looking at a building and they're telling you, my building only runs at 30% or only 40%, I can tell you right now, somebody better hit the BS meter, because that's not true, man. The only way that's true is if there's a lot of deferred maintenance that they're pushing off. If they are self-managing it themselves, there's a lot of things that could offset that. But, the last thing you want to do is keep pushing deferred maintenance out. The other factor is do they even have a reserve account? Like, there's so many things. We're not here to talk about commercial, but I want to help you with your financial literacy a little bit better. So that's when you're looking at the topic called cash flow analysis, that's really what that is. Now, let's say I'm looking at a fourplex that's not based on a cap rate. I'm going to do the same thing, right? I'm going to get to the NOI. I'm going to take gross rents. They call it GR, gross rents. I'm going to minus my expenses, first, second, and third tier expenses to get to an NOI. And if you do it correctly, your first tier is going to have your debt services in it. So I'll get to a true NOI, and then I'm going to just do the same thing. Divide that by total cash invested, gives me my cash on cash return. And so when you're running that angle, you now understand where you are on the deal. And let me just be clear on this. There's really a 3-question test you can always ask yourself. Like, you guys that know me know that I like these 3-question tests. Like, if you've been to my bus tour, I tell you there's 3 questions you got to always ask before you buy a deal. Can I buy it at a price point that if I needed to wholesale it, I could? Yes, check. Can I buy it, fix it up, and sell it retail? Well, there's a lot of factors around that, right? Like, is there enough profit in there? Is the budget correct? Is it in a market that's going to sell? Is there a clustering zone? Is that a yes? Yes, check. Can I buy it? And if it doesn't sell for some reason, can I buy it low enough that rent it out and make cash flow on it? Check. That's my 3-question test on a rehab. And I have to have 2 of them before I say yes to the whole deal. On rental type properties, I have a similar 3-question test. Number 1 is, what's the cash on cash return? Number 1, what's the cash on cash return? And does that cash on cash return meet my standards? Okay. Does it meet my standards? Question number 2 is it even worth my time and energy? So what does that mean? Look, the cash on cash return could be 67%. Let's just say that. That would be insane, right? Like, wow, that's what I want. But it might only make me $2,000 a year. Well, is it worth my time for $2,000 a year? Those are questions I got to ask myself. And then question number 3 is it a headache or not a headache? You with me? So question 1, what's the cash on cash return? And does it meet my standards? Question number 2 is it worth my time? Right? Is the money that's going to come off of this worth my time to deal with it? And question number 3 is it going to be a headache? So what would make it a headache? Well, it's in an area that is just absolutely a nuisance to try to keep rented. Right? It is the type of property that has high turnovers. It's the type of property that has a ton of deferred maintenance and I have to constantly be working on things. That's a headache. I don't want it. Right? So if the cash on cash is good and the worth my time is good, well then, okay, the headache, I might be able to deal with the headache. You follow me? But let's say the cash on cash is good and the money's not so good. So, you know what I mean? I don't know if the money is worth my time, but it's not a headache, meaning that I don't have to do a lot with it. Like, I never have to go to it. I never have to worry about it. I don't have to do nothing with it. I just go put my money in and move it. Well, then, okay, I might take it. My point is I'm looking for 2 yeses out of those 3 questions as well. Same in the rehab business, right? A 3-question test before I take a rehab on, a 3-question test before I take a rental property on. So you got to get them 3 questions out there. What we got, Jill?
So we have some questions for you. Let's see here. Kenneth says, I'll give you a 5, Zach.
Good job, Kenneth.
Jeremiah says, checking in. Rich says, hello. Augie says, good stuff. Rich says, do you ever come to the Chicago area to train? I'd love to sit in with you with my son and daughter.
I haven't. It's been a long. I don't think I've ever been to Chicago.
It's the Windy City.
No, I've been there personally, and I love Chicago. But I don't think I've ever done an event in Chicago.
I've never planned one for you in Chicago.
Did we do Chicago? I don't know. I can't say that I recall it. I mean, but Lord knows, 10 years I've been teaching people this business. So, I mean, I've been to Chicago many a times. I don't see, not this year, I can tell you that. Not this year.
So Ronald says, can you show the T-chart? I want to say T-shirt. T-chart again.
On how, well, the T-chart doesn't get you to cash on cash. The T-chart is just a formula to show you how if you have two of either one of these, you can get the other one. So I'll see if Justin can zoom in on that.
Down some, down just a bit right there.
I love it.
All right.
Ronald gives us the crying laughing face. Sherwayne says, Zach, you know what? I don't know how to change it. That's why. Show me how, please.
Sure, Wayne, go back under the reviews, go to your review and click on all the messages. And I actually took screenshots and posted them in the message so that you can see with red arrows telling you exactly how to change it. Looky there. I'm a good coach. I even gave you direction on how to change your review.
Shelly says, I need the gross rent formula again, please. She'll be there this weekend.
Oh, you'll get it this weekend, Shelly.
In detail. Ronald says, do you ever come to Oklahoma City?
No, I have not. I've spoken in Oklahoma City many a times. I have friends in Oklahoma City. But you guys got to get up, man. You got to get up and get to where I'm at. Look at you guys all trying to get me to go to you. You got to come to me. I'm trying to get everybody to get to a central area, right? We hadn't done the East Coast in a while, so that's why we're there.
Ronald could go to Dallas, though, because that'd be
You could drive to Dallas, Ronald. That's in September.
Yep. Curtis says, see, Zach, I told you should come to Chicago.
Oh, Curtis, you better watch out now.
Jermaine says, Zach, I will see you next week at the event in Tampa,
Boom,
Florida.
it's this weekend.
Ron says, will there be a replay on this? Yes, as soon as it's posted. As soon as we end, it'll post on there for a replay.
Yep.
Dawn says, darn good stuff, but fast.
Yeah, I am kind of fast.
A little bit. That's why we have to take coffee and our B12 to make sure that we can keep up.
That's funny. All right. So listen, guys. So let's talk about some other stuff. So I'm gonna move you into ARV and LTV and why they're different and why you need to know they're different. Okay, especially for my new people. It's actually Ronald, not.
Oh, Roland.
Roland, not Ronald.
I'm so sorry,
Listen,
Roland.
I was saying Ronald too because I was looking at it super fast.
I
Roland. Sorry about that, Mr. Tucker.
It's okay. He's part of the family now. I've renamed him.
You've renamed him.
I've renamed him.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's what happens to everybody.
If you've been here long enough, Jill will give you a new name. So, all right. So, guys, understand that there is a huge difference in ARV and LTV, okay? For those of you that know a little bit more about this is probably just a recap on what you already know. For those of you that are brand new, this is going to be no, I have not had coffee today, David, actually. No coffee at all today.
High on life.
I am high on life. But be very clear that ARV is really an assumption. That's what it is. It's an educated guess on the assumption of what that property could be worth if things were done to it, okay? So we all know what assumptions do. They get us in a lot of trouble if we're not very skilled at it and we're not fast at the deal itself. because an ARV is after repaired value. So let's talk about that. Well, somebody will say, well, no, I mean, that's what other houses are selling for, so this house should sell for that. Well, yeah, it should, but it's an assumption, and there's a lot of things that could alter that. The market could tank all of a sudden. You could have taken too long to do the deal. Now prices are different. Foreclosures could have all of a sudden popped up. You know, you follow me? Like, there's assumptions. That's why we say there's risk in real estate, especially when you're slow. That's why we say don't do big rehabs when you're first starting out, because it takes too long. So the assumption of the ARV that you thought was there, now 6 months later you're putting your property on the market, it could be completely different. Now it could be good, it could be bad. I'll give you that, because right now in our market, yeah, I mean, if you wait 6 months, it's going to be worth more. But that's an assumption, right? So ARV is based on an educated guess on what it's going to be worth in the future. The best way to really get that idea of what it will be worth in the future is to look at solds, obviously, like what's selling now, and that's the assumption that I think this property will sell for when I'm done. You could get an appraiser to come in, and the appraiser can do what's called a future value or an after repaired value, where most appraisers go on what's known as current value state. Okay, they'll say, well, here's the current value of the property, right? And so you just got to make sure you're clear when you're working with an appraisal on what type of value you're trying to receive. Like, I need its current value, or I need to know what it could be worth fixed up. So then they can, instead of just looking at comparables on that property in its state, they could only isolate properties that have been fixed up in that market and say, well, here's what the assumption, or here's what we think this property will be worth when you fix it up. It's two different values. Because an as-is state, your property could be worth $200,000. ARV, and after repaired value, your property could be worth $300,000, right? And so where you could go wrong, where homeowners do go wrong, is they go look at properties that's selling in the neighborhood for $300,000, and they go, oh, well, my property's worth $300,000. Well, no, it's not. The as-is only $200,000. Now, if you want to put in, Mr. Seller, $40,000, then yes, you could get $300,000, depending on how quickly you get it done and get it on the market, because the market could shift. It could go up, it could go down. It's really, an assumption, and that's why we always say it's an assumption, right? We're assuming that the market is going to stay where it's at right now when we get to the time for our sale. The challenge with that is you would be naive to think that the market is going to stay still, because it's a commodity. Real estate is a very high demand commodity right now. So we know that when commodities are in high demand, they go up. But what we also know is that when commodities are not in high demand, they go down. Okay, so you just got to keep that in mind when you're looking at it. And that takes us to LTV, right? LTV is loan to value, and that's what banks go off of. That's basically what the contract is. So when you go into a contract with somebody for $200,000, well, guess what? That's the loan to value, because the banks see it as that's the value of that property in its as-is state. And the reason that they say that is because they say that the value of something is what someone will pay for it, not the future value, because banks aren't in the assumption business unless you're doing new construction with them or something like that. They'll play in that world a little bit with you. But most banks don't like that type of risk. And so when you go to a bank and you're going to buy a house and you have a contract for $200,000, that's called an LTV, loan to the value. The value is stated at what someone is willing to pay for the property in its as-is state. And so that's what they base it off of. Now you have asset-based lenders and hard money lenders that understand ARV and future value. They understand that, and they're willing to take the risk with you because of the market condition, and that's why they charge more interest and more points, because there again, it's a risk. They know it's a higher risk. Where the banks, they're not going to play in that risk, right? And that's why they go off of LTV, because they say, hey, look, I get it. If you fix it up, it's worth $300,000, but you've only agreed to pay $200,000. So therefore, the value as is $200,000, and that's what we'll loan you on. So they're in the win if you go in and fix it up, because now they've loaned you 80% of a $200,000 value that you turned into a $300,000 value. So they've loaned you $160,000 on a $300,000 house, which means their risk, they're in it only about 50% of value at that point, okay? So that's why they play in that world, to control their risk factors. So you just got to understand, when you're hearing that terminology, you need to know what LTV is. You need to understand what they mean by value, and you need to understand what after repaired value is, and future value. And there's a lot of, little nuances in that, and swimming down the river, and you can go a lot of different ways when it comes to that. So now the last thing I'm going to talk to you guys today about is leverage, and how important leverage is in your business. You need to get real clear that leverage is the pivotal point of a business in its growth. There's only so much you can bring to the table, okay? There's only so much. After that, you have to start leveraging. This is why I say leverage your way to millions. Leverage your way to millions. Because it's the ideal aspect of being clear on the more money I borrow, the more cash flow I can make, the more assets I own that become more valuable over time. So I can leverage $1 million of borrowed money, and I can make, in a good time, about $200,000 off of that, okay? If I'm leveraging that money correctly. Let's just say that you're leveraging $1 million at a 20% rate of return, okay? So let's say, well, let back up a minute. Let's say that you're holding $1 million worth of real estate, okay? The value is $1 million. You had to get a loan for 80% of that. So you had to get a loan for $800,000 to leverage against $1 million worth of real estate, okay? Now, if you've got $1 million worth of real estate, and that $1 million worth of real estate is making you, let's just say 30% on your money. So and this is why I want you to see how big the number is, but how much bigger you need the number to be, okay? So I go get $1 million worth of real estate. I'm going to leverage the bank at 80%. So they're going to loan me $800,000 for that $1 million worth of real estate. I got to come in with 20%, which is $200,000. If I'm making 30% return cash on cash, then on my $200,000, I'm making what? $60,000 a year off of $1 million worth of real estate. Now you're starting to see the picture. That's at a 30% rate of return. So you've got to start, you need to be leveraging $10 million. Do you understand? If you're making 30% on your 20% injected into a leveraged loan, and at $1 million, you're making 60. At 10 million, you're making $600,000 a year. So this is why I'm always saying leverage, leverage, leverage. Don't be afraid to leverage $1 million worth of real estate. Don't be afraid to leverage $10 million worth of real estate. Don't be afraid of that, because that's how you grow. That's how you start to multiply your capital. You start to create every 3 years, you're doubling your money. Every 3 years, you're doubling your money. And that's how you build more longevity, and that's how you build wealth, when you start to understand the power of leverage and using these banks. And if you're like, well, Zach, I can't use a bank right now, well, then you need to get your shit together, man. Excuse my language. But you need to get your credit fixed. You need to get some type of stable job to start making some money while you build your real estate business, okay? I mean, it makes me sick when people walk up to me and they're like, Zach, my credit's 400. I ain't got no job, but I need to do a deal. Okay, well, then wholesale. Wholesale. But wholesale is just another job. You need to be wholesaling and building wealth. So my advice to you as a coach is go get a job. Get a job so you can make some money, work on your credit, wholesale while you're doing that, so that you can get stable enough to start buying rental properties from a bank. That's wealth, okay? If you're saying to me, well, I'm just going to pay cash for everything, well, then I'm not going to get on you guys too much today.
I want to be able to pay cash for everything and not have to worry about where the cash is coming from.
You need to leverage. The worst thing an investor can do is pay cash for real estate. That's the worst thing you can do. You need to leverage everything. If you're going to spend cash, you spend cash on your business. You spend cash on educating yourself. You spend cash on growing your knowledge base. You spend cash on you, not your investments. That's what leverage is for. You understand? That's why we leverage. Smart investors understand leverage to the T. They know, I've got $100,000. I'm going to use part of that for leveraging to get more deals, and I'm going to use another part of that to educate myself so that I can grow and I can be wiser and more intelligent. But see, some of you guys think, I'm sitting on $200,000. How do I go spend that on real estate? Well, that's because that's what your mama and papa taught you years ago, and look how far it got them, okay? You need to back up a minute, and you need to understand the power of leverage and how to take the money that you do have and how to dissect that money and start spending it wisely to leverage as much. Here's why. I want you to just do the math. If I was making 30% on a $200,000 investment into $1 million deal, do you understand what that really looks like? That's like what? That's $60,000 a year, okay, off of that property. So let's get clear on that. So the debt service on that is going to be, we just did the math earlier. It was like $50,000 the debt service, okay? So let's remove the debt service. So now you're up to $110,000, okay? Because you're going to pay cash for it. You go out, you buy $1 million building for $1 million. You're making $110,000 off that building. Jill, do the math. Take $110,000 divided by $1 million. What do you got? It should be like 11%.
Yep.
So would you rather have 11% on your money or 30% on your money? That's the message I need you to hear from me today, okay? It's not about that you don't have and look, some of you don't have the money and you're like, yeah, I wish I had $1 million. Well, you got to go out and build it. You can't wish yourself rich, okay? You got to get up off the couch and you got to make it happen. But if you did have the $1 million, the worst thing you could ever do is take $1 million and buy real estate with it. The best thing you could ever do is go build a relationship with a bank, leverage their money, and triple your return. Triple your return. Take that $1 million and spread it out over multiple deals. Take a portion of it, invest it in yourself and your business, grow your infrastructure, grow your knowledge base, grow who you are as an investor, and then leverage the rest of it out. And you will be, in every 3 years, that $1 million will be worth $3 million now. Listen to the math. That $1 million in 3 years will be $3 million. That $3 million in 3 years will be what? $6 million. That $6 million in 3 more years will be $12 million over 9 years. Or we could go buy $1 million worth of real estate with $1 million and make 11%. And over 9 years, I wouldn't even have all my money back. Well, yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'd have 99% I'd almost have $2 million over 9 years. Where the other route, I would have 12 million. So do you want 2 million in 9 years or do you want 12 million in 9 years? Do the math, guys. Now, is there a point where you start paying everything off? Yeah, absolutely there is. But it's not until you've built everything to the point to where you say, look, if I paid everything off, heck, I could live on a yacht and travel the world. But you're not there yet. So you have to leverage that money and leverage it to the max, okay? Leverage it to the max. So when you get to the point that you're making, I don't know, $200,000 a month if you pay everything off, okay, then start paying everything off. Pay it all off. Now you're making about $3 million a year. If you want to live on a yacht and travel the world, you're going to spend about $50,000 a month for the yacht. So, you're good. You're good. Hit the water, man. Take the kids, get you a homeschool teacher. That's going to cost you another $50,000 to live on the boat with you. Now you're $100,000. Well, now you're $600,000, $700,000 a year out. Then you got to add in food and travel and all the excursions. You're probably $1 million out a year to live on a yacht and travel the world. So now that means you're banking $2 million a year in savings off of your investments. Now, who's with me on that? Spend $1 million, travel the world, save $2 million every year. I couldn't save $2 million because I'd probably want to go reinvest it, but that's just me. So.
Right.
All right. Anyways, that's my pitch on leverage, guys. You got to leverage. You got to leverage your way to millions, man. What we got?
I leverage.
You do leverage.
Yes, a lot.
And that's the beauty. Leverage is key.
Yep. Scott Sweet says, "Amen." You were talking about the building your wealth and go get a job and fix your credit.
Right.
So he says, amen. Roland, he says, amen. Carly said, we hear this all the time. Why would I pay for education when I can use that to buy a house? It's painful.
It's just not realistic. Why would you do that? Like, that is like the most unrealistic investor move. It is the epitome of running the race at turtle speed. Like, why would you want to run the race at turtle speed, right? Like, leverage your way, maximize your returns. And the reality is the education is what's going to help you understand that and get you to where you need to be. I agree with you, Carly. I hear it a lot.
Ariana says, laugh out loud, get a job and fix your credit. Of course you're right.
That's right.
Yolanda says, okay. Manny says, that's why I use other people's money. Never use your money. Never.
Never, unless you're investing it into the business. Use your money to invest in the business. Use other people's money to invest in assets. Does that make clear? Use your money to invest in your business. Use other people's money to invest in assets. So,
Sherwayne says, can you send it to me again? I deleted all my messages.
It's not in the message. It's in the reviews. It's there. I just looked at it again yesterday. Sure, it's there. It's if you go to the REI Success Academy homepage, click on the review button, scroll down until you see your name. It's the only one with a 1 star, by the way. And then just look at where me and you were talking back and forth in there. It's all still in there.
Tina says, I've paid out thousands on real estate education, and I still don't have any real estate. She's, I want to say she's with John.
Oh, well, then just good job you jumped ship and came on with us then. Because we will make it a reality for you, right, Tina? So that's the power of it. And here's the thing. I spent tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars on my education. Why do you think I'm so smart? That was a little pat on my back there, right? But I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on my education because I invested in my business. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, some of the people that I was investing in 16 years ago weren't the sharpest tool in the shed, but it was the only person I could find at the time. I wish I would have found me 16 years ago. I did kind of find me personally, but I'm just saying I wish I'd have found someone like me, right? I would have been leap years ahead of what took me to get to where I wanted to be. Not to say that it took me too long, but, you know, we invest in things in our life because we know we need to get to a certain place. And through that, we learn along the way. The key is to always look back and say, I've learned something from everything I've ever done. And then when you end up in the right place, like Tina says yes, like ending up with us and one of our coaches like John, you then understand point blank how different we are to others, right? It's so clear. You're like, man, like this is night and day compared to the other things I've been through. It's like when you find the person you're supposed to marry, right? Like they buy you a washing machine, you know? Or you just have that feeling, you know what I mean? Like you're just like, this is the person I'm supposed to be with forever.
Clean smelling clothes.
So it just happens, okay? It's like, you know, when you're with the right family, you just know. When you're with somebody that's like myself, who's invested, owns multiple companies all over the place, and I'm still here teaching and helping and growing, you're with the right place. Because I have a vision here, and that's to help people get to the next level. That's why we do our Due Deals event. That's why we do our Growing Your Business at our summit. That's like next level stuff. That's why we offer the mentoring to help people get where they need to be. Like, I understand what it takes. I've been there. I've done it, you know, too many times. So,
Roland says, when will you be in Dallas? We'll be there in September.
September.
Roland also says he likes the rhino on your desk.
Roland, you must be new, man. You haven't seen the rhino before?
Manny says, if you want to take this business to the max, fix your credit.
Yep.
That is very, very true.
Yep.
Tina says, yes, it is. John's great. Carly says, is that how I know it's the one? They buy me a washing machine?
That's right.
That is very true, Carly.
You got to ask Jill about that one, Carly.
Yes.
That's kind of a little nudge on Jill over here from 4 years ago or whenever it was.
No,
Was it 4 years ago?
2, 3,
2 years? 3.
3.
It's got to be 3.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring them in and
Get them to buy you a washing
You sell
machine.
them some floor and they buy me a washing machine.
What do you say, Mr. Raul Martinez? Popping your head in here. It's good to see you coming on, buddy. Miss you, man. I miss you. All right, guys. Well, that's what I got for you today on the show. Your financial analysis, your financial literacy. Remember, leverage is the key. Leverage is the key. If you don't understand leverage, you will grow at a snail's pace. Use leverage. Use other people's money for your assets and use your own money for your business and your education. All right? See you guys. Boom.